receiver, but then the switch to quarterback. Two things. Can you explain how that came about, and how did that expansion help you as a coach? Your resume, your expertise.
Yeah, so I went to Liberty University. I went there to play quarterback. And I got there, I redshirted my first year, and they had a quarterback that was a junior. And so in order to get on the field, I went over to play some receiver for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then, but I was always meeting with the quarterbacks. I always did individual with the quarterbacks. And, so played those 2 years at receiver and then moved over to quarterback. And so that transition, probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, right? Because it gave me perspective on, I was always learning things from a quarterback's perspective. But then having to go out there and execute from a wide receiver standpoint just helped me learn that much faster, that much better.
You guys brought 4 guys for the transfer portal in here. Can you just give a quick rundown of what you see for each one of those guys?
Yeah, so I'll start off with C.J. Williams. So C.J. is a guy who transferred to us from Southern Cal. He's a very competitive young man. He is got great quickness. Good ball skills. I think he's going to be a pretty good playmaker for us. I'm excited to get to work with him. Bryson Green came over to us from Oklahoma State. Very physical wide receivers, made a lot of plays for those guys down the field, and again, excited to have him as well. And then we had the 2 guys come from Cincinnati, and Quincy Burrows and Will Pauling. Quincy was a true freshman for us last year, and so he didn't play, redshirted for us, but he's got a lot of talent. That will continue to work to develop and see how his future plays out. And then Will Pauling played for us last year, split some time in the slot with our starting slot receiver last year. He's another little jitterbug, quick guy, playmaker, super competitive. So it's a good group. It's a good group of guys to add to what we already have here. And I'm excited to get our hands on everybody and work with everybody.
When you do that, I'm sure the old wide receiver room kind of felt like they had the talent to kind of make some noises there. Do you have to have a conversation with the guys that were ready here and let them know, like, you still kind of like what you have there?
Yeah, so the common misconception, right? Like you say, oh, man, you guys brought in 4 guys. You're changing the room. Well, just our philosophy from a roster standpoint of how many guys we carry at the receiver position is different from the previous staff's philosophy. And so we brought in 4 guys just to get the numbers to where we needed to get them.
Okay.
Right? So it wasn't any thought of, I'm trying to replace this, replace that. No, it's adding 2 because, we want to have 11 or 12 guys on scholarship at receiver, just so you're not killing your guys with the amount of running and things like that. So, and I was very candid with those conversations with those guys in our first meeting, and let them know that so they understood exactly why we were moving the way we're moving. But those guys are great, man. Those guys are hungry. They're competitive guys, and I'm excited to work with them this spring.
Because of the way Wisconsin's offense is operated in years past, there's generally been like 3 wide receivers that get the ball touches. I mean, there's a significant drop-off. Just based on how you like to coach and what you know about Coach Longo's offense, how many receivers do you think it's realistic to have contribute? What sort of your plan is to try to figure this out about how you utilize all this talent?
Well, it all depends, right? If you got 3 guys that are really, really good, and then there's a huge drop-off, then those 3 guys may end up being the ones to get the bulk of the receptions. If you got 6 guys, well, now you find ways to rotate those 6 guys in. I would say we'd like to try to have 6 guys. In my mind, I'm trying to find the top 6 guys. And, I'd like to be able to rotate those guys. And, depending on, how we do things offensively, which I'm still learning, but how we do things, with tempo and things like that, how we're able to sub, all that stuff plays a factor. So I guess it's a little bit of a loaded question, but that's probably the best answer I can give you right now until we kind of get things rolling.
I'm sure you've watched a little bit of what they did last year. What are your impressions of Chimere and Skyler, specifically 2 of the top guys last year?
Yeah, I was very impressed. I think they are physical guys, right? They were asked to do a lot in the blocking game. They stuck their nose in there, no hesitation. And then they made plays. When the ball came their way, it didn't come extremely often, but when the ball did come their way, they made plays. And, Chim he's had a lot of production, right, over his career. He's played a lot of football. He's a smart player. He's a tough player. And then, Skyler's a young guy. And, he shows some promise just as a young guy. And so I think there's a good base there to work with. And, I'm just excited to get to work with.
Like, I'm guessing a lot of the guys that you will be recruiting and have recruited in the past have aspirations to play in the NFL.
I hope so.
You know what it's like to get there as an undrafted free agent. What expertise can you share from your background to let them know how difficult the path is, but that you can also make it the hard way?
Yeah, I think just sharing my experiences with them, right, and showing them the work ethic and things that it takes to get there, just being an example of that. And then Coach Fickle, man. Coach Fickle does an outstanding job of just preparing these guys and creating a culture that will prepare these guys for the next level. And so I think all of that plays, everybody has a different role in that. Obviously with me being in front of them every day and them understanding where I've been, I guess my words could weigh a little bit more in certain areas. But it's a culture that's created throughout the program, and it's contagious. And if you don't buy into that culture, then you'll stick out like a sore thumb. You'll be very uncomfortable. So.
One of the key differences you would like to see out of the wide receivers this year under you? What are some of the key traits you want them to have? And if you've studied last year, like, what do you think this group needs to do to get to the level that you believe is possible?
Well, I think the number one thing is just playing hard, and which I think they do. This entire team does. But the number one thing is that, man, it's just the core principle of our program. We talk about effort and attitude, right? And that's about going 100 miles an hour, giving everything that you've got, and being extremely competitive. And we'll do things to develop skills and things like that, and identifying guys and putting them in the best position to succeed. But none of that's going to be possible if they don't play hard, right? The best compliment that I could ever get as a wide receiver coach is, man, your guys play extremely, extremely hard. And when I hear that, that's something that'll mean a lot to me.
Mike, you've been under Jim Harbaugh, you've been under Luke Fickell, and now Phil Longo as well. What have you taken away from the different experiences with three of the different coaches you've been around?
Yeah, I've been around a lot of really good coaches. I've been very fortunate, and Coach Fickell is very unique in how he does things, and they're all a lot different. But the thing that I love about being here is, like I said, man, he challenges each and every person in the program, coaches included, right? He's gonna, judge me based off of, do I get my guys to play at or above their normal talent level, right? If I'm here and I'm not getting those guys to play above a certain level, then I'm not doing my job. And so there's a constant challenge there to grow. It doesn't allow you to really get comfortable, which is great because it forces you to grow. And so that's the one thing I really appreciated here. And like I said, all of those coaches that you mentioned have great things about them. And then Coach Longo, I'm obviously getting to know him a little bit. Haven't been with him, but I guess 2 months now. So we're still getting a feel for him. And but everything has been great so far.
When Coach Fickell asked you to follow him here, was there a big sell job that was needed, or what were your impressions of this program that made you want to see more of it?
Yeah, absolutely not. It was, he asked me to come with him. I was honored. I was very thankful. And my experience with him over the past 4 years has been great. Like I said, man, I'm a person that I like to be challenged. I like to be pushed, and he does that. And he holds us to a standard. And he cares about us. He takes care of us. Takes care of our families and things like that. So it was a no-brainer for me.
He mentioned that a strength of the staff was that a lot of you guys have worked together before. He mentioned that a strength of the staff is that a lot of you guys have worked together before.
Yeah, so about half of us came over from the previous staff, of on the field guys, and then a good number of off the field guys. So there's a lot of familiar faces, and I think that's good because it shows continuity. It shows that people believe in what he does, people trust in what he has done, and the results have obviously shown that as well.
There's obviously a lot of excitement about the offensive changes that have happened in the last couple of months. How much do you think Coach Fickell and the staff are trying to reinvent what Wisconsin can be, and how much of it is adding on to what was before?
Yeah, I think that's the mentality, man. It's more about adding on to, man. This place has been a place that's been very successful for a very, very long time. So to come in and think you're just going to reinvent the wheel, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I think you find out what made Wisconsin, and then you just try to add to it. So that's kind of the approach that we're taking. Yes, it may look a little bit different in how we do it, but the things that this program has been very, very good at, we're going to continue to build on that and then just expand from there.
Wisconsin had a bit of a brand, run the ball, throw the ball sometimes. It's not going to be that way, obviously, as much anymore. When you're going on the road, you're going on the road recruiting, do you have to kind of change people's mindset of what Wisconsin is?
I think yes, to a certain extent, But at the same time, right, like there's a common misconception about this offense that you hear air raid, you think you're going to throw the ball every play. But at the end of the day, you're going to do what you do best, right? The offense is very flexible. And if it means that we're going to run the ball more because that's where our strength is, then great. If it means that we're going to pass the ball more because that's where our strength is, then great. So that's the thing I love about the offense from the parts of it that I know so far. So, you know, it's a yes and no, right? Yes, you're going to say, hey, look, we're going to definitely be more open to throwing the football. But at the end of the day, it's about getting the ball to the best players. And how do you do that? Who are those players? Is it two tailbacks? We've got two really good tailbacks here, right? Is it getting those guys the ball in different ways, right? Is it the receivers? Is it the tight ends? And then just trying to find ways to distribute the ball equally to those players.
You've been asked about comparing Wisconsin's offense to what's going to be here. What's it going to be like? How close are there similarities between what you're going to do here and what you did at Cincinnati? Are they very similar or not?
Yeah, I think there's some similarities. I think there's a lot of similarities. I guess to a certain extent, a lot of people across college football are similar. Obviously, there's going to be verbiage and things like that are different, philosophies that are slightly different. But, you know, if you just hit play, you know, on the film, you say, oh, man, this is very similar to what we did, you know, there. There's different parts of it there are, but there's parts that are very different.
It was reported that you were brought on in early December. Just what have the last 2 months been like? Because I'm sure you hit the road recruiting right away and then kind of got to know the guys after that.
It's been a whirlwind, man. You know, we got here, I think it was the first week of December, and then signing day was coming up, I think 2 weeks after that. So, yeah, we hit the road, you know, and then we had Christmas, and we came back, and we hit the road again. And, you know, so you're bringing in official visits and things like that. But the experience has been great, man. You got getting to meet, you know, just a lot of different people. The town has been great. The city's been great. Just a lot of buzz, a lot of energy around the program. You know, and so learning my way around and meeting a bunch of different people has been great.
Wide receivers who initially transferred or announced his transfer came back as Marcus Allen. Have you had a chance to talk to him? And if so, where do things stand as spring practice approaches on?
Yeah, he's here. Yeah, he's here. So Marcus, yes, he had jumped in the portal prior to our staff, prior to Coach Fickell getting hired. You know, we recruited Marcus a little bit coming out of high school because he's from right there in Dayton, Ohio. And so we had a little bit of a relationship with him, and I think that was part of the draw to keep him here. So I'm excited to have him back, excited to get to work with him in spring.
Mike, the balance, obviously, you've balanced it a lot. The recruiting balance and the coaching balance. Has it been tougher since you've gotten here, since it's a new offense, new people? And what have those challenges been like?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, every challenge is a little bit different, right? You know, you're getting there, you're learning a new offense, you're learning your players, your current players, you're learning the guys that you're recruiting to try to get here. So everything's a little bit new. But man, it's been great, man. That's why we do what we do. You know, we love it. We love meeting people. We love to recruit. We love spending time around different things, and we love to learn. So you put all those things together. Yes, it's going to be a challenge, but that's part of what we signed up for.
You touched on the 4 transfers that you guys were able to get. Of those 4, I think Bryce is the one with the most experience.
Yeah.
How valuable do you think that is to this group, and what is the skill set that he specifically can bring with a group that's got guys who can play?
Yeah, I mean, experience is always great, man. Guys that have done it and have proven to be able to do a handle in different situations, things like that, that stuff is invaluable. I do think he brings a toughness and an attitude, an added toughness and an added attitude to the group. But again, we'll see just kind of as we start to unfold these things in the spring.
Sorry for about one more. Sorry for that, sorry, but with those transfers that came in and the guys that have already been here, what's that process of kind of blending those two groups and their relationship so far in the room?
I think it's been good. You know, you see them hanging out together, eating dinner together, walking around together. So that's always a good sign. It's always a positive sign. So far, I think it's really good. I think the guys in the room have a great relationship. You know, you see, I think, genuine celebrations and things like that when those guys have earned their W's on their shirts and things like that. So that part, I think, is going well so far.
Appreciate it.